What is going on, world? The Hungarian experiment here, and in this video we're going to discuss a more scientific view of intermittent fasting. This is going to help you guys picture what's going on throughout your body and throughout your veins during various stages of the day. If you've never heard of intermittent fasting before, then this video will be great for building up your knowledge base. But as I always say, make sure you go out and do your own research. Now, if you like, I have plenty of videos on the subject of intermittent fasting. They'll all pop up on the screen right here. But this video is dedicated specifically to the fat loss benefits of intermittent fasting and why I believe this is the most optimal way to eat in regards to weight management and managing your body fat percentage. Now, many people seem to have this propagated idea that if you stop eating for an extended period of time, let's say 24 hours, then your body is going to start burning up your muscle for fuel. This is 100% absolutely false, and I've been proving it on my own body in various ways since I started my channel at the beginning of this year. This year, I've had 2 40-hour fasts, over 5 32-hour fasts, and I typically fast for about 17 to 20 hours every single day, and I've still managed to put on noticeable muscle mass. If you don't have any previous knowledge in regards to biology, then take a fucking course or do your own research or something, because this is your body. You need to learn how it functions and operates, or else you're allowing other people to control your view of your body and in correlation take advantage of you. Don't just do life, be in control of your life. To put it very, very simply, your body uses carbohydrates or sugar as its first fuel source. Sugar is very easy for your body to process, whereas if it needs to burn fat for fuel, it has to take several extra steps. It's not technically hard for your body to do it, it just requires more effort. So just like jaywalking across the street rather than walking 2 minutes down to the intersection, crossing and then coming back. It's faster, it's easier, there's a lot less effort involved. Sugar doesn't need to break all these molecular chains. It can use it almost immediately. Now, when you intake a high amount of carbs, any unnecessary sugar that your body doesn't require is going to get stored, and typically as fat. Vice versa, when you eat a meal with a minimal amount of carbohydrates, your body is still going to use the sugar as fuel first. But once all that sugar is depleted from your veins and depleted from your system, your body is going to go into its fat reserves, provided that they are there. To best explain why I believe intermittent fasting is the best method for fat loss, we are going to go over 3 different scenarios. The typical intermittent faster, your typical bro, and your typical white girl. Scenario 1, your typical intermittent faster. When an intermittent faster breaks their 16-hour fast with their first meal, this is the first time in several hours that their insulin levels are being spiked, and the body is now focusing on carbs as its fuel source over fat. Throughout the day, and even throughout most of their meals, their insulin levels will be at a steady level to help send all the glucose around to the cells, while any extra carbs get turned to fat. Once the eating window is complete, this will hold steady but begin to decline over the next 10 to 16 hours depending on the amount and the type of carbs ingested. Once your body begins to acclimate to this type of eating after several months, your body won't store excess carbs as fast. Your body will want to preserve the carbs as long as possible because it knows that it's going to go through a period where it's going to be depleted and be running on absolutely no carbs. So your body actually utilizes the carbs a lot better than the 6 to 8 small meals or the typical white girl style of eating. Again, this takes a while for your body to adapt and learn and know that this is happening. Scenario number 2, the typical bro. Your typical bro's longest fasted period is their sleep. Depending on their last meal, 8 to 10 hours is most likely the longest time without food, resulting in maybe a 0 to a 2 to 3 hour period of no carbs in their system, depending on what the last meal consisted of. After waking, the typical bro has their first meal, which spikes their insulin and carbs, causing a rise in energy as well as mental and physical awareness. A half hour to an hour into digestion, a lull happens where your energy draws down because major body systems are being used to process all this food. This makes the typical bro slightly tired, making him think that he needs energy from food, so he has meal number 2. Spiking and lulling is what the typical bro does every single day, which is hard and stressful on the body. All day long, the body is using carbs for fuel until they are completely depleted from the system by either intaking low amounts of carbs or through exercise and completely depleting them. If too much is ingested, so after meal 1, the carbs aren't depleted and you have meal 2, you're going to be putting on fat because you have excess carbs in your system. If you're going to be the typical bro and you eat 6 to 8 small meals a day, you need to find this balance where you are consistently spiking but then depleting the carbs before your next meal to ensure that you're hitting those fat reserves. So depending on the types of carbs eating during each meal, as well as the amount of carbs eaten in each meal, along with the total calories for the whole day, the typical bro may not be cutting fat at all, or only slightly at nighttime right before he wakes up. Along with cutting almost no fat, and then spiking and lulling your energy levels all day long, the typical bro also has to be concerned with balancing and monitoring all the factors of foods and the amounts and times if they want to make sure that they are cutting fat consistently day to day. This is the way I used to eat throughout most of my teens and college, and now I realize it is just sheer craziness. Scenario 3, your typical white girl. Now, your typical white girl believes to cut fat, she should just eat as little and infrequently as possible. She does not consume enough calories per day to help her recover and function from the previous day. So although she is in a regular state of fat loss, her tiny 1 to 2 salads every single day rarely have enough carbs to shock her body out of the fat loss. Her body thinks she's in a state of famine, and instead of using the fat reserves as fuel, it is trying to preserve the fat reserves as much as possible. The body then adapts to this, trying to hold on to any carbs as long and as much as possible, resulting in your hormones trying to keep you alive rather than focusing on growing, recovering, and functioning as an optimal human being. All right, well, there you have it, world. Why is intermittent fasting the best method for fat loss? Because even though you are still getting an optimal caloric intake to make sure you function, grow, and recover as a human being, you are also allowing all the carbohydrates to deplete from your system, ensuring your body is only burning fat as fuel for several hours every single day. You are guaranteeing that you are hitting your fat reserves on a daily basis, which I believe is a lot more optimal way to cut fat than low carbing it for a week and a half or 2 weeks. Your brain only processes carbohydrates. Once you start to lower your carbohydrates down, your mental awareness goes down, your physical awareness goes down, and a lot of people, if you ask them, it is not fun low carbing. So, why not intermittent fast to cut fat? It just makes sense, doesn't it? Well, thank you guys very much for watching this video. As always, I hope it was informative for you. I hope you learned something here today. If you did, make sure you go hit that like button, and like always, leave me a comment. I am the Hungarian Experiment.